Devin Booker. And first things first, I want to give credit to Earl Watson. Now, he didn't make Devin Booker, but I feel like he kind of gets overlooked in the story of Devin Booker being the head coach of that Suns team and deciding to let this young guy develop and give him the reins of the team and really put his job on the line.
Yep.
Earl Watson wasn't a bad coach, but he gave this young player, he saw the potential in Devin Booker and he gave him the reins. That may have been the same year Devin Booker ended up scoring 70 and allowing him to do that and play freely in that sense and just develop his game in the moment. So I want to give some credit to Earl Watson for that. But Devin Booker was a role player in college. He came off the bench for Kentucky. Lou, I'm going to go to you first because I know you're very familiar with how stacked that Kentucky team was.
Yeah, that Kentucky team was absolutely just ridiculous. Devin Booker obviously being the 13th pick. He didn't start in college. It was for a reason. They had the Harrison twins who both ended up being in, later on getting drafted to the NBA. Tyler Ulis, who was like the 5'9" point guard who at 5'9" made it to the NBA. That's impressive within itself. And then they had Willie Cauley-Stein, who was obviously a top 5 pick. Trey Lyles, who's still in the NBA to this day, and Karl Anthony Towns, who was the first overall pick in that draft. Like, that team was ridiculously stacked. So obviously, he was a role player, but dating back to his college days, he only averaged 10 points a game.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that the shot was always there because he shot over 40% from 3. His free throw numbers were good. And then he comes into the NBA his first year and, like you said, goes to a really bad team. Let's call it how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they start giving him the reins. And then obviously year 1, he starts to figure things out. But then year 2, they really all right, this is our guy.
Mm-hmm.
This is who we can claim maybe he's going to be our guy in the future. Let's see what he really does. And, Devin Booker hasn't looked back since year 2, if we're being very honest.
Right.
A lot of credit to Earl Watson for the first part of his career. A lot of credit to a player who I typically don't give a lot of credit to, and that is Chris Paul for the second stint of his career, because the playmaking chops that he has displayed now is something that was honestly almost a pipe dream when you watch him play at Kentucky, because he wasn't being asked to do any of that. He had essentially 3 point guards and Towns, who was, always not the best passing big, but in terms of college play, he was a very good passer just in general for his size. Mm-hmm. And so was Trey Lyles. So he wasn't really tasked to do any of that. And it's just seeing a player who came in with he was a 13th pick in the draft. We talk about where you get picked doesn't really matter. And it's true. But at some point, there's a lot of the questions with him was, can he be good enough defensively? If he is good enough offensively, how good can he be offensively? Is he going to be a star, or is he just going to be
microwave
a 6-man? Yeah, microwave scorer off the bench. Exactly. And, he has made a lot of teams look real dumb in that draft for passing up on lesser known players or players who just didn't pan out, and literally helped change. I don't want to say he solely did it, but he definitely helped change the outlook of the Phoenix Suns and what we know them as of this moment, as of today.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. No, I was a fan of Devin Booker. That Kentucky team was so fun. Tyler Ulis and Devin off the bench was the better backcourt. Anybody who was watching could tell you this. The Harrison twins are so overrated. And no, he was so fun to watch because you could see flashes of it. But like Lou said, there's still question marks. He was 19 at the time. Only played 1 year in Kentucky, and how much is he's playing off talented guys? How much is it he's playing with with a solid coach in Calipari? You see he's got guys in front of him in the Harrison twins. Why are they starting over him if he's so good? And there's question marks all over.
Yep.
But he's definitely taken the reins just with his playmaking, his scoring, all-star talent. And he's one of the best shooting guards, if not the best, consistently year over year. Mm-hmm. It's especially since Harden and Clay have aged out a little bit. But he's just dominating and being able to recruit those top talent players like Chris Paul, a Kevin Durant, guys who want to play with him, and that's a big step for him as he gets into the prime of his career.
Yeah, and Devin Booker is one of those examples of why I don't like to put a ceiling on players, because like Lou said, the defense wasn't always there, and he's become one of the better defenders in the NBA now. The playmaking was definitely not there when he first got to the league, and now he's one of the better playmakers in the NBA. And again, we can give Chris Paul the credit for that. Well, the credit, but like
some of it.
Some of it, but not all.
When you learn from look, Chris Paul is a disliked player. Lou, you're one of the people who don't like Chris Paul very much.
Hater.
Still respect him.
Yes, but he is also one of the smartest players to ever play in the NBA.
Sure.
So anytime you're able to learn from somebody from that, it could be a great thing for you. And Devin Booker is an example of that. But I just want to give Devin Booker the credit also for those Suns teams were tough, right? And he was getting overlooked for All-Star games, and he did a little too much complaining about that, but
he did too much complaining altogether.
Yeah,
what was it he said in the double teaming in the scrimmages? Oh my God.
But now he has the playmaking to where if you double him, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is he caught a lot of flack playing on those bad teams because and I don't like this, but anytime a player is good and they're not winning, all the blame goes on them, and it's they're not that good because they're not winning. And the whole ring culture thing we've been talking about since episode early on, it's kind of like poisonous. But Devin Booker caught a lot of heat for when those Suns teams weren't good, and it really wasn't his fault. Like sometimes you have to look at the front office, like, hey, I'm doing everything I can. You have to get me some people. So credit to him for sticking with it, for not I'm not gonna say he didn't complain because he complained a whole lot, but he stuck with the Suns. They ended up getting them some help, and now we can look at them this year and say they've underachieved, but they've also been very injured. We know how talented that team actually is.
Nobody wants to play him.
Nobody wants to play him.